Pelican Rapids City Council meeting of 24 September 2019 is called to order. I ask at this time if you have cell phone, if you please put them on vibrate. And before you leave this evening, if you have not signed the roster on the clipboard, if you would do that also. At this time, roll call of members. Onnalee.
Councilman Strand?
Here.
Councilman Ballard?
Here.
Mayor Fraizer?
Here.
Councilman Markgraf?
Here.
Councilman Foster?
Here.
I want to welcome each and every one of you here this evening for our second council meeting of the month of September. A few announcements for the coming couple weeks. Tomorrow, September 25th, from 10 to 11 a.m. at the library is Conversations with the Mayor. 28th through 29th of September, and also the 5th and 6th of October is Leaf Days at Maplewood State Park. 30th of September at 5 p.m. is a joint work session between the Pelican Rapids Planning Commission and the Pelican Rapids City Council here at City Hall. And on the 8th of October at 5 p.m. is our next City Council meeting in the council chambers. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? If not, if we please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 on our agenda is citizens' comments. If there's anyone here to speak to the topic other than what's on our agenda this evening, I ask if you would step up to the microphone and state your name, and have 3 minutes each.
My name is Joyce Burnham. I'm from Pelican Rapids here, 515 First Avenue Southeast. Okay, and this with me is Kathleen Knutson-Olsen, better known as KKO. Okay. We are co-presidents of our local Friends of the Library, so it's no surprise we're here regarding support for our Pelican Rapids Public Library in response to a proposed massive cut in its budget. With today's advanced technology, to say you can't judge a book by its cover doesn't say a whole lot anymore. Instead, you can't judge a library's value to its community by only looking at its books. Brookings Institute. There are people, some of you on the council and in city administration, who believe that no one uses our Pelican Rapids Library anymore. You even find it hard to believe that the library housed 1,056 non-library meetings in the past year. When it's KKO's turn, she will take you through the meeting rooms and what happens to them. Then others from Friends and from the community will be visiting future council meetings to cover different aspects of the library. They will work to convince you that the library is indeed used. We want to make it clear that the city's responsibility of caring for our library space is so important if the library is to continue adequate service to the community. Neglecting that responsibility will mean cuts in safety, cuts in staff, cuts in hours, cuts in service, cuts in convenience, cuts in materials, and more importantly, cuts in our community's growth and progress. In other words, the proposed budget cut for the library means cutting into ribbons our city's very own community vision statement. Now here's KKO to tell you about what's happening in those meeting rooms. Thank you.
I feel like you guys have no clue how much those meeting rooms are used, and because we do not have other big meeting rooms in the town, which could have been upstairs, I had put that in a little bit too, is that they are really heavily booked, okay? And we have a large meeting room, a smaller meeting room. We have 2 study rooms which people can reserve too, okay? And you would be amazed, and I probably would not know about a quarter of these things if I had not taught at the school for 40 years, okay? Because we get a lot of use out of those too. Election season's coming up. We have, I should say it's open 24/7 for use of those. If the library is not open, they can get a key. The staff is really accommodating about trying to get that figured out for you and tell you how you can get things and how you can get the doors open without setting off the alarms and things like that. So they are really heavily used. Just coming up, we're coming to election season. The Democratic caucuses are always there, and I think the Republican ones are down at the Lake Region. And I think we have 6 different townships that I'm there with. Elections, I think there's 3 townships that come in and use them because they do not have handicapped access spaces in their little town halls out in the country. People come in for tax help. We have ESL, English as a second language, citizenship classes, GED classes, adult basic ed, and those are kicking off now. Detroit Lakes has kind of taken up under the auspices of that. They've hired teachers. They're starting now with during the day classes and after school classes and in the evening classes too for working people. Okay, let's see, tutoring. Especially if they have homebound or suspended students, or I know as a ALC teacher, if you had a kid you did not want in the general population, we would meet that kid down at the library. Sometimes we have, like if you have homebound, I had 4 little gals that had babies while I was working in the ALC, and they would often come into the library. We'd reserve one of those little side rooms, study rooms. They could still like breastfeed. They did not have to have, before I have gone out to some homes, but sometimes if it's a little gal and it's a male teacher, you don't want her to feel uncomfortable having this male teacher come into the house while she's there. Tutoring services are there. A lot of people volunteer. I've seen Steve there helping people with English over the years. I know he's done that. Service groups can use those rooms. That we have like other support groups. I know Alcoholics Anonymous meets there. I think there's 3 other support groups that meet there also. Workshops of all kinds. I've gone to workshops there that have been like on teenagers or dealing with suicide and things that I can use for continuing ed for my license to keep teaching. I've gone to ones that have been run by the EXU, and they'll get this kind of part of the county that will come in and use that big thing. There's the over 50 driver's ed, which I need to go to, okay, so I can get that little break in my stuff. We have religious meetings. I think there's been, in the years that I've been in Pelican, there's been church startups, okay? Civic groups are welcome to use those. Kids that are out of school, like I say, they've been suspended. They can come in. I can bring homework to them. I can leave it with them, check them in it. We use those study rooms a lot. Safe exchange. Over the years, I've seen that with kids that you don't want to have any problems with the kid going from one parent to the other through the safe exchange there. We have people that come in and they give breaks to people that have real difficult kids, and they will often use the library to bring the kid in, use the computer, get books out, okay, take movies out and things like that. Social services, we've met a lot over the years with that in my role as a teacher with parents, probation officers, the police, mental health facilities, because they do not want to be seen walking into the school, okay? That's just been a much nicer place to do it then.
I must ask you to wrap it up.
Oh, okay. And I still got about 15 more things, okay? But we really use those rooms heavily. We use them for our MERC meetings, and sometimes we don't get one. The only place that we have ended up going to is we go down to the depot then, and we reserve their back room for our mercantile meetings, okay? Thank you.
Anyone else here to speak? Step up to the microphone, please. State your name, where you're from.
My name is Norwood Sisson. I live out on Pelican Lake. I'd like to put in a good word for the library too. I use the computers, the printer, the Wi-Fi. And if I want to know anything, I go in there and ask. If I want to know where to buy something, if I want to know where to buy services or goods, I go into the library and ask where I can get it. So it's sort of the Chamber of Commerce as far as I'm concerned. And sometimes I'm a computer nerd, so sometimes if someone's asking them a computer question, they direct them to me. So, but it's a good place to meet people and help each other. I'll just tell you, there was a lady in there a few weeks ago who had a Wi-Fi router that had terrible instructions. She was asking about the instructions. They couldn't make sense out of it, and I looked at them, and I couldn't make sense out of them either. So I had her bring in the router the next day and her laptop, and I set it up for her based on many other routers that I had set up, so I knew how to do it. But They provide a lot of connections even when they can't help themselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here for citizens' comments? Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else, we will move on. Item number 3 is additions, deletions to this evening's agenda. I have one addition. Pelican Rapids Swimming Pool Resolution, number 2019-19. Pelican Rapids Swimming Pool Resolution, number 2019-19. Any other additions or deletions? Any other additions or deletions?
I'll move the agenda with the addition.
I'll second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 4 is approval of consent agenda. I'll read those items. Item number 4A is approval of council minutes from 9/10/19. 4B is approval of accounts payable listing. 4C is certify unpaid fire call to property taxes for 201 Southeast First Street. Item 4D is certified unpaid mowing bill to property taxes for 108 Northwest Second Street. Item number 4E, 1 is staff reports, the utility report.
I move to approve the consent agenda as read.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Item number 5 is liquor store report. We have the liquor store manager, Maggie Johnson. There's a liquor store report in our packet, and she's also going to speak about personnel. So I'd like 2 motions, one to accept her report, and then whatever personnel references she has for us this evening. Is there a motion to accept the liquor store report?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now, Maggie, personnel.
Thank you. We had 2 applicants to put before you tonight for approval, and that is Mason Burby and Helia Rockstead. They would be part-time, starting at level 1, which I believe is $14.30 an hour. That's
What were the names again?
Mason Burby and Helia Rockstead.
So since Keely was was a city employee over the summer, so does she get credit for that time? I mean, so that she moves up a step or anything like that, or?
Different position.
Okay.
And actually, she'd want this level anyway.
Okay. Move to approve the hire of Mason Burby and Keely Rockstead.
Second.
Motion second, discussion, discussion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you, Maggie. Let's jump all the way down to item number 17. It's a Pelican Rapids Swimming Pool Resolution. And we have Amy and Mark Docken are here this evening to present the resolution, which you found on your desk here this evening. Amy, Mark?
Thank you for having us here this evening. Myself and Mark are here on behalf of the Pelican Rapids Pool Committee. What we're coming before you tonight to ask is, you've already approved us to move forward with applying for state legislature funding in the bonding year 2020. And in order to do that, they would like us to have a city resolution to include with our paperwork application. So we worked with City Administrator Don Solga and Danielle up here at the City Hall to develop this resolution that's before you. What questions can we answer?
I move to accept resolution, resolution 2019-11.
I'll second that.
Motion second, discussion, discussion.
Well, one thing, and I'm bringing this question up because we have not had a real discussion about what we're going to do in the process of going out for bids and everything like that. By doing this, are we putting the cart before the horse.
No, we're just saying that we approve that they